angry guy here, and men are choosing foreign women over Western. Men are choosing foreign women over Western women. Let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
Because women, listen, women like you always be talking about, y'all just pick me up. Y'all can pick the date. Just take me on a date. We finally take you all on dates.
What do you mean?
It don't matter. You always crying about going on dates. Why do it matter with a Wow, it's IHOP.
I'm not finna walk in.
Wow, it's IHOP.
Take me home.
I'm not finna take you home.
Take me home.
I done came all literally about an hour away from me. You think I'm finna take you all the way back to the crib?
Well, catch me Uber then.
That is one thing that I noticed when I was in the States. Some American women are just so rude. I mean, this man went and picked her up. He drove a whole hour to go get her, take her to the IHOP, and all she can do is complain. Even if I wouldn't like the IHOP, if somebody comes and picks me up that I'm going on a date with, and I have food intolerance or whatsoever, I'm still going to go there. I'm going to order something and have my cramps afterwards, just because of the simple fact that I'm thankful and humble that you came and took me somewhere, right? Because why does it matter where we go? I'm going on a date with you. So what I'm trying to enjoy is you.
Having a woman but not posting her is a major red flag. And I don't want to hear you keep your personal life private. You just don't want other women to know you're in a relationship so you can keep your options open.
I highly disagree, because if a man has any intentions on stepping outside of his relationship, he's going to do it one way or the other. His girlfriend's pictures is not going to keep him from talking to other women. Besides, let me tell you something about some women. When they find out that a man is in a relationship, they are more motivated talking to that man than if he was to be single. You may ask yourself why, because many women are jealous and envious of other women's relationship, and they would do anything to destroy a happy relationship just because they are too miserable themselves to stay committed to one. Besides, people put way too much energy into social media when it comes to their relationship. If they was to put the same energy into the relationship than they put into social media, I think we would have more happy or longer relationship. Me and my husband, we've been in a relationship for 22 years, and let me tell you, it's not about what you show online, it's about the actions of each partner. Trust, faith, discipline. Ask you one thing, how many women are actually online right now in a full relationship, showing themselves online to other men in a way that only their partner should see them in the bedroom? So please don't tell me anything about a man posting a picture of his girlfriend online just to show the world that he's in a relationship.
If you don't feel like you can help out with me and my kid, then we don't have anything to talk about.
See, many modern Western women, they want to be supported by a man, but they do not want to be supportive. Okay, you want the man to take care of you and your kids? I have questions for you. What do you bring to the table that benefits the man's life? And honestly, the sad thing about it is that a lot of women don't even know what it means to bring something to the table that benefits a man's life, because your humor, your ability to cook, or your female assets is not enough. What doesn't make it okay for you to expect a man to take care of another man's kids? Just because you look good doesn't mean that you can step into a man's life who has established himself well, bring your kids along, and then expect him to give you half of what he has.
You know what I find interesting that Soraya said? So she mentions that, bringing your humor, your ability to cook, and your female essence is not enough. Here's what's interesting about that. A lot of men would be grateful just for that in Western society, but the average woman will never bring those things, because the average woman is not feminine. She is masculine, and men don't want that masculine energy. She knows nothing about femininity, so she cannot bring that to the relationship. The average woman views cooking as servitude. So she deliberately has not learned how to cook. She does not know how to cook. She eats crackers, cheese, and biscuits unless some man will take her out and buy her food, or she's living off credit. Okay? So she can't cook, she can't clean, she has no female essence, and in terms of a good sense of humor, most women don't have a good sense of humor. They can't make a man laugh. One thing that I'm pretty good at is I know how to make a woman laugh. When I'm cool, when I'm calm, when I'm collected, I can make a woman laugh. I can literally drive a woman crazy just by the things I say, and they absolutely love it because I know how to tease. I love to tease, and that's a part of my personality. But the average woman can't do these things. She doesn't know how to make banter, how to communicate effectively, how to hold a man's interest, how to add value just by her being there and bringing value and light. She can't do these things because she sits there on her throne believing that everything is supposed to be handed to her. She should have a man that's constantly there to be the court jester and entertain her around the clock whenever she gets bored. She's supposed to have a man that's always going to provide whatever she needs: food, shelter, clothing, a cleaning lady, everything. She's not going to prepare the food. She's not going to clean the house. She's not going to do anything. His money is her money, and her money is her money. This is the relationship. She thinks that her very presence is enough, but her presence brings nothing because she has nothing to bring. She has not worked on herself. She has not been forced to work on herself throughout her life. So even though women are more likely to sit around and talk nonsense with one another, that doesn't make them better communicators. Women absolutely get tired of each other. Here's something intriguing that people don't take into consideration. No matter what you say, men and women both fall into categories of being introverts, extroverts, ambiverts. Ambiverts are basically, they can be introverts or extroverts. They do both. They do well by themselves. They do well with others, right? They can create their own energy, but they can also take energy from others and feel energized when with others. They're a very interesting group of people. Introverts can have exceptional communication skills or poor communication skills. It has nothing to do with that. Introverts can also be come across as very sociable people. However, they get burnt out very quickly because they create their own energy, and as a result of that, they can end up feeling drained when around others for too long. Extroverts can have great social skills or they can have terrible social skills. They can be great communicators or they can be very poor communicators. And they basically take energy from others. They draw energy from others and they become energized when they're around others. It's pretty interesting. The reason why I use that example is because women are both. Women can be introverts, extroverts, and ambiverts. And what that essentially means is that there are a lot of women who get tired of being around other women, regardless if they communicate a lot or not. Ultimately, the only people that will ever continuously put up with a woman's crap is a man, because that's how men are designed. But guess what? Eventually, men get sick and tired of it, and then they start to walk away when it becomes no longer a deal that they're willing to deal with. If it wasn't for marriage contracts, if a lot of dudes had never gotten married, and that's why you hear a lot of men tell younger men, don't get married. And then people will think, oh, well, but your marriage looks so great. You just don't want me to be happy. No. If only walls could talk. If only you could know how miserable the marriage is, but they make it look like it's functional on the outside when in reality, it's miserable on the inside. This guy hasn't been intimate with her for like 10 years. His life is miserable. Everything he earns, he pours into the house, and no amount is enough to make her happy. It's a continuous decline. She cannot stand him even being in the same room as her, let alone listening to him breathe. And he's constantly just putting up with it and living with it because that's the situation he's in. So he's trying to make the best of a bad situation. And I've realized that about a lot of married men who say things like never get married, even though they look like they're in happy marriages. They're not happy marriages. They're just trying their best to make it work because they can't get out of the marriages anymore. Because once you're in, you're locked. And if he tries to get out, that's just a guarantee that she's going to mess up his life and take half. So he's basically just trying to ride the train for as long as he can and do the best he can until everything collapses and hoping that it doesn't collapse. So even though he's miserable in the relationship, he's going to just cope and bear through the misery. That's the honest to goodness truth. In reality today, I don't think any man should be going out there and getting married. I don't think marriage is something that men should be doing in Western society, global society. I don't see a reason. I don't see a place for it. I understand why people do it, but you cannot own another human being. There's no real reason to get married aside from like tax benefits. There's no real reason to get married. To make the woman happy, maybe. And again, you're putting yourself at risk. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some countries where marriage works differently, like in Mexico. You can basically elect to either share your assets when you get married with your wife. So basically, she gains access to your assets. So if you're divorced, she'll get half of what you have. Or if you can sign another type of marriage certificate where if you marry her, whatever you bring into the marriage, you keep. Whatever you build in the marriage, you keep. Whatever she brings into the marriage, she keeps. Whatever she builds in the marriage, she keeps. So you're basically, your assets are always your assets, and her assets are always her assets. So, and that's really the best type of marriage to go about. And it's unfortunate that we don't have that in America, and it's deliberate. They deliberately make it that way because they don't want men to have a better way of marrying, a better way of protecting their assets, because America is a country for women and babies. It is a country for women and children. It is not a country for men. Men built it, they maintain it, but they are not wanted here. They are not wanted here, but yet society wants to keep them here because they need them, but they don't like them. It's kind of an interesting conundrum where society despises you. Women despise you, society despises you, but at the same time they need you. So it's kind of like, I don't like you, but you better not go anywhere. It's such a narcissistic system, and the reason why it can happen is because men have allowed it to, and specifically weak men made this possible. And you have to understand the simps are very weak because these are men who've never wanted to actually work hard for things. A lot of these simps are lazy. Okay, that's the reason why they love Only Fools and Lonely Fans, because it's easy. It's easy to go on there and feel like you're being validated and give away your assets and resources to people who don't even care about you. It's easier than having to go to the gym and work out and take care of yourself and build value and create value for yourself. It's easier to be on there than to grab your passport and go overseas and actually have to interact with a living, breathing human being. It's easy. Being a simp is easy. Being a man of value, being a man of substance, being a man that actually has to work on himself and create value in the world, now that's hard. That in and of itself is hard. What do you guys think regarding this? Men are choosing foreign women over Western women. I want to know your thoughts in the comments, so let's talk about them there. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.